That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, pause, but like that's how. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early with me. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world.
Usher allegedly said Diddy punched Cassie in the stomach, and he didn't drop that bomb lightly. He's not coming with rumors. He's coming with decades of receipts, hidden audio, and signed docs that tie everything straight to Diddy's front door. And here's the wild part. Usher ain't just a witness. He might have been the first victim, the blueprint. The original child star who got passed around like it was part of some twisted industry hazing ritual. And once it started with him, it didn't stop. Justin Bieber, Chris Brown, names just kept stacking. Usher's silence was gold to the industry. Until now. Now that silence, it's shattering. The whispers, those shady interview quotes, random on-camera moments that never quite made sense, Usher's confirming what people were scared to say out loud. He's not just calling out Diddy, he's blowing the lid off the whole system. A so-called mentorship program that was really grooming in disguise. And the most shocking part? Usher's putting himself on blast too. He's not just snitching, he's saying, "This is how they got me, and this is how they kept it going. If this holds up in court, we're not just watching Diddy's legacy crumble, Usher might be risking his own career too." Before we dive into the leaked footage, the 48-hour Bieber custody handoff, and Diddy's full-blown paranoia spirals, let's rewind the clock. Long before Bieber even knew what a record deal was, before Cassie ever ended up trapped in that hotel hallway, there was Usher. And he wasn't just watching from the sidelines. He was one of the first lab rats in this messed up industry machine back in the early 90s.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp?
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really.
Come on.
But hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time, you know what I mean?
Usher Raymond IV was just 13, a raw vocal beast from Chattanooga, Tennessee, when L.A. Reid signed him to Love Face Records, a label that was pumping out hits like a machine. But instead of protecting this young talent, Reid made a move that would scar Usher for life. He shipped him off to New York, straight into Diddy's domain. Not a studio, not a dorm, Diddy's penthouse. And insiders didn't call it home, they called it Flavor Camp. Let's break that down real quick. Flavor Camp wasn't no summer music boot camp. It was Diddy's out-of-control penthouse pad, allegedly masked as a mentorship program, but whispered about in back rooms as something way darker. Grooming ground, plain and simple. No guardians, no lawyers. Just a 13-year-old Usher, alone, dropped into the chaos of one of the wildest party scenes in the industry. Imagine that. Models everywhere, alcohol flowing, cameras flashing, celebs sliding in and out at all hours. And in the middle of all that madness, a kid barely 14 trying to chase his dreams while swimming through a sea of adult temptation and unchecked power. Years later, Usher tried to laugh it off in interviews, but his eyes told a different story. Nervous chuckles, dodging real questions. He said the house was wild, full of chicks, but then admitted he saw things no child should ever witness. Things that haunted him. And it gets way darker. Word on the streets of Harlem? Usher didn't just witness the chaos inside that penthouse, he got dragged into it. Hardcore whispers have been floating for years that something went down in that apartment. Something so traumatic, it reportedly landed young Usher in the hospital. But not for no flu or broken arm. Nah, this was allegedly for a backdoor injury. If you know, you know. Sources claim it was Diddy who crossed that line. So bad, Usher needed urgent medical help. But instead of this turning into a public scandal, it vanished. Fast. No cops, no headlines. Why? Because insiders say NDAs were thrown around, hush money started flying, and the pressure, it wasn't legal. It was street level. Real quiet, real fast. And Jean Deal, she's done staying silent. She's out here dropping bombs, saying Usher had some interesting interactions with grown women, all while under Diddy's supervision. What kind of mentorship is that supposed to be? Then there's that cursed footage. The one clip Diddy probably wishes he could erase from existence. He's just sitting there, real calm, talking about his old days with Usher. When out of nowhere, he let something slip that had people replaying it 100 times like this. But that wasn't the only time Usher was allegedly forced to watch the horror unfold. Sometimes he wasn't just a victim, he was stuck on the sidelines. One insider even dropped a bomb, saying Usher was right there when Diddy allegedly punched Cassie in the stomach during a dinner with Neo and Jimmy Iovine at the table. Yeah, that kind of night. And guess what? None of the men said a word. Not one, just pure silence. And now, looking back as a father himself, Usher's silence feels heavy, like straight-up complicity. Folks are starting to ask, was he really free back then, or did he just learn to freeze under pressure? Truth is, Usher was likely groomed not just to keep his mouth shut, but to survive. He adapted to the madness, and in doing so, he became the first breadcrumb on a twisted trail of broken artists that followed. But here's where it gets even darker. When the red flags stopped looking like danger signs and started looking like just another Tuesday in the biz, Usher didn't just escape the trap. He led someone else into it.
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
Going crazy.
Crazy. Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber. By the time Bieber stepped into the scene, the machine was already in full effect. Shined up, dangerous, and moving like clockwork. And who rolled out the welcome mat? Usher. Yup, Usher's the one who walked Bieber straight through the front door. Let's paint the picture. Late 2000s. YouTube is blowing up. A 13-year-old kid from Canada with a swoopy haircut and crazy talent is going viral fast. And Diddy? He's watching, waiting, ready. And Usher? He's standing right beside that kid saying, "Come on in." Scooter Braun might have discovered Justin Bieber, but it was Usher who co-signed him, and that move changed everything. So what did Usher do next? He didn't just offer guidance, he took Bieber right back to Law Reed. Yup, the same Law Reed who once packed up teenage Usher and sent him straight to Diddy's penthouse playground. It was deja vu, but way worse. Because this time, Usher wasn't a confused kid, he was a grown man, fully aware of the game. And yet he brought Bieber straight into the lion's den like a sacrificial gift. And Diddy? Oh, he didn't waste a second. Diddy swooped in like a hawk on prey. There's one video still up online that still gives people chills. Diddy's on camera bragging about having Justin under his custody for 48 hours, no parents, no team, just Diddy and Bieber. Even back then, the energy was weird. Office, but folks brushed it off as just another industry mentor moment. People laughed, kept it moving. But the internet doesn't forget, and now, that clip hits real different. And it wasn't just talk, there are photos, there are videos, there are people who were there. Justin Bieber, just a kid, getting pulled into parties with adults, surrounded by women twice his age, pictures of him shirtless, around grown women at Diddy-hosted events, live streams where he looks straight up uncomfortable, while Diddy's out here asking wild stuff like, "Are you wearing a wire?" It wasn't mentorship, it was something else. Something no 13-year-old ever should have been around. But this moment, this one raised serious red flags. And maybe Justin knew.
Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, Nick was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said. But I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard, and that's what happened. And that's just, that's something that you heard. You don't know if it's true, you just heard it.
Because somewhere along the ride, he started pulling away. Quietly, but noticeably. That Diddy connection, it fizzled. The collabs stopped. Mentions in interviews, gone. Bieber kept his distance like he was dodging something he wanted no part of. Then the lawsuits started hitting Diddy from every angle, and Justin, he went silent. No defense, no support, but also no statement. Just straight up radio silence. And that silence, it's loud now. Which brings us to the biggest question of this whole twisted story. What does Justin Bieber really know? Insiders say Bieber saw more than he'll ever admit, that he felt the heat early on and dipped the moment he had the power to choose his own path. Others believe he's still scared. Scared of what could happen if he speaks out. Scared of being blackballed. Scared of reliving something he never agreed to be a part of in the first place. Either way, one thing's crystal clear now. Bieber didn't just stumble into fame. He was thrown into a machine that had already devoured other young stars before him. And Usher, he can't play innocent anymore. His hands, they're not clean, not even close. But even after all that, the story still ain't over. Let's talk about the trial, because this is where things get real. Cassie, Diddy's ex-girlfriend and former protege, has already testified that Usher was right there when Diddy allegedly punched her in the stomach. At a dinner, with Ne-Yo and Jimmy Iovine sitting at the same table. And the most disturbing part? Nobody reacted. Not a flinch, not a word. And this wasn't some random crew. These were heavyweights in the music game. The fact that these powerful men just sat there in silence? That silence is hitting different now. People aren't seeing it as shock anymore, they're seeing it as complicity. But hold up, it gets even messier. Because now the guest list from past events is leaking. And the names? Big. People who either witnessed stuff, were too close to the madness, or were regulars at Diddy's private parties. Chris Brown, French Montana, and yes, Justin Bieber. All three of them were seen at Diddy's now infamous Thanksgiving bash in 2017. Caught on camera in the mansion, joking around, dapping each other up, like it was all love. But behind those walls, people say it wasn't just fun and games. That same night, French Montana shows up late and Diddy has the whole room join hands in a prayer. A prayer. From a man facing predator accusations, that moment now feels bone-chilling. Like a wolf blessing his own pack, knowing exactly what secrets were being kept. But it doesn't stop with Diddy. If this whole setup really was a system, it had roots. And according to former bodyguard Gene Deal, Diddy's own mother, Janice Combs, was allegedly part of it too. Multiple insiders claim she didn't just party with him, she might have helped recruit women and girls. Once you hear that, everything else starts to click. And now, all eyes are back on Justin Bieber, because out of all of them, he's the one who got away. But let's not overlook this major sign. Justin Bieber literally unfollowed Usher on Instagram. That move didn't need a caption. It screamed everything about where their relationship stands now. Whatever brotherhood they once had, it's done. Justin's standing at a crossroads and everyone's watching. For months, Bieber said nothing. Not a tweet, not a post. Meanwhile, the internet exploded with theories. Fans were zooming into every old clip, every backstage moment, digging up decades of interactions between him and Diddy. And the vibe? Office, real office. But now, Bieber's camp finally broke the silence. In a statement to People, his rep said, "Although Justin is not among Sean Combs' victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed by him. Shifting focus away from this reality detracts from the justice these victims rightfully deserve." So, no, Bieber didn't call himself a victim, but he also didn't deny the horrors surrounding Diddy. That line? It said a lot without saying too much, and fans picked up on every word. Even before that statement dropped, you could tell something wasn't right. Justin was ghosting the public. No new posts, no appearances, just radio silence. Then out of nowhere, he's spotted at a hockey game in Toronto, courtside with Hailey. But he looked rough, like a man trying to act fine when everything inside him was spiraling. Holding on to Hailey like she was the only thing grounding him. And here's where it gets deeper. Sources close to Bieber told multiple outlets he's been emotionally shaken by the entire Diddy mess. One insider said he shut down, flat out refusing to speak on it. Another revealed that Justin actually regrets working with Diddy on his 2023 project, the Love album Off the Grid. This isn't just about Cassie's bruises, or Usher's trauma, or Justin's old photos. This is about a whole generation of stars who got pulled into something way darker than they ever signed up for. This isn't just about Usher, or Bieber, or even Diddy. It's about the entire machine, the system that allowed all of this to happen and the people who kept it moving behind the scenes. So what's next? That depends on who's willing to speak up, who's brave enough to face what they saw, and who's still out here pretending like they saw nothing, hoping their name ain't next. Because let's be real, if Usher's testimony holds up, if Bieber finally decides to open up, and if even half of those rumored recordings, tapes, and freak-off footage are real, then this ain't just a scandal. This is Hollywood on fire. Now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Usher just trying to survive? Or did he know exactly what he was doing when he led Bieber into the same twisted trap? Should Justin finally speak out? Or wait until the courts bring the receipts? And how many more names do you think are about to fall alongside Diddy? If you want the full breakdown of how Cassie's testimony ties this whole dark puzzle together and why the industry tried to bury her for years, click into the next video. Because once you hear her story, everything else starts to make scary sense. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next drop. This story is far from over.